1990. Within 18 months, he'd killed Vicky Hamilton. 6 months later, Dinah McNichol disappeared. Tobin denies killing Dinah McNichol. The trial continues. Tom Bars in Anglia News, Chelmsford.
Now, where will you be doing your food shopping this Christmas? Chances are it will be one of the big supermarkets.
But what if you need something from your local corner shop? There's an increasing chance that could mean popping into a Tesco store too.
It seems the ever-expanding retail giant is now targeting the high street, opening its smaller express stores on an unprecedented scale. Tesco says the new shops are good news for everyone, but many of its smaller competitors disagree. Neil Bradford has this report.
Passing through a Tesco checkout is something almost all of us have done. The Hertfordshire-based retailer has opened more stores in the past 2 years than any of its competitors, the latest here in Cambridgeshire. On another street, another new shop. Shop fitters in Norwich are busy preparing for the opening of the third Tesco Express in the city this year. The rate of growth is impressive by any standard, but it's not always popular. For 5 years, residents in one city street have been fighting plans for an express store.
At the inquiry, Tesco were asked what the turnover would be of a store like this on a location like this, and we were told that it would be approximately £2 million. Well, £2 million is exactly the total amount of turnover of this entire shopping area. So on the one hand, they're saying the turnover is £2 million, and in the next breath they're saying, and this won't affect the local shops.
In the Fenland town of Ramsey, where the new superstore opened last week, the local business community have taken a rather different approach. Instead of excluding them, they've welcomed them as one of their own.
I think everybody is a little bit worried at first when something happens and there's a change in the town, whether it's for the better or the worse. But I think they're going to find it's going to improve traders to Ramsey, particularly, for them coming to Ramsey to shop in Tesco's, and then they can pop into all the other different stores that we've got. We've got some very unique traders and independent traders in Ramsey, which I think will benefit.
Are you helping the high street or killing the high street?
I think we're doing a great job for the high street, because what we're doing in all the places where we've started a new business, where we've opened a store, is we're increasing footfall. So like here in Ramsey, where we opened a new store on Monday, lots of people have more reasons to stay in Ramsey instead of going to Huntingdon or Peterborough for their shopping. So that means that the butcher, the baker and the candlestick maker can benefit too.
In the past year, Tesco tells us it's opened around 2 stores a month in the east of England, 16 of them express stores and 2 of them supermarkets. We've totted up a total of 285 stores now trading across the whole of the Anglia region. With that rate of growth, it's no wonder it feels like there's a Tesco on every street. And there may soon be, as Tesco proposes a similar rate of growth in the years to come. In Northampton, where the company's opened the country's first self-service store, there are mixed views about the impact the supermarket giant is having on the high street.
Good for me, but not very good for all the other smaller shops, because they can't offer things at the same prices.
I enjoy going in there. I still go in the co-op, so I don't, get everything from there.
Got good bargains. All the time they're good bargains. Don't really feel they're helping us at all. I don't understand why we've got a Tesco Express here when we've got a co-op just there and a Morrison's up the road.
Tesco says it will continue to build new stores as long as there is a customer demand and the sites are available. And while there is no shortage of opponents, there is certainly no shortage of customers passing through the checkouts. Neil Bradford, Anglia News, Ramsey in Cambridgeshire.
Well, it is an extraordinary level of growth, isn't it, whatever you think about it. If you do have any views on that, of course, the website address is jonathanandbecky@itv.com. Anything you see in the programme you want to chat to us about, get in touch. Right, news now of a programme coming up later on ITV Anglia.
Here's Alistair Stewart with the details.
That lounge music as well. Right, great to have you with us this Tuesday evening.
It's quite soothing, actually. All the news from where you live, it's coming up next, plus plenty more.
Well, some more news now, and police are investigating the theory that a 78-year-old man from Essex shot dead his terminally ill wife before throwing himself into a nearby lake. The body of 81-year-old Pam Edgar, who had MS, was discovered at the couple's home near Rochford. Friends said she'd recently been told she hadn't got long to live, and they believed her husband couldn't bear to be apart from her. They were both supporters of the local Multiple Sclerosis Society.
I have spoken to both of them on the phone on a number of occasions, and they always used to turn up at the annual general meeting to vote on various things that went on within the branch.
Divers have today been searching the harbour in Great Yarmouth as police continue to look for a man missing for almost 2 months.
30-year-old Derek Tempest was last seen at the end of October. He'd gone to see two men who ran a local garage. Well, 5 days later, they were found dead. Malcolm Robertson has more.
On a bleak winter's day, this was the dismal task that faced police officers. Sweeping up and down the River Yare at Great Yarmouth, searching for Derek Tempest, a father of 3 who hasn't been seen for almost 2 months. On board was specialist sonar equipment, able to identify images of anything unusual in the water. An army diving team from the Royal Engineers were ready to follow up any sightings.
I think there's a possibility that Mr Tempest may have been put into the river. This is, I would say, only one line of inquiry, but it is significant enough that I feel I've had to put the resources in that we have today.
The police believe his body was carried in the back of this white van and then dumped in the river. It's 7 weeks tomorrow since Derek Tempest came to this garage to see the 2 men who ran it, Jim Hall and Andy Ventham. He hasn't been seen since, and 5 days later they were found in the front seat of a car here, having apparently committed suicide. This is the first time we've caught a glimpse of their backstreet garage. Normally the gates have been shut, while police forensic teams have searched inside. Detectives fear this was where Mr Tempest was killed. Why and how remains a mystery. For Derek Tempest's family, with Christmas approaching, this is a particularly difficult time.
So I was with the family yesterday and made them aware that we were going to be doing this activity, and of course it's very difficult, but as you would expect, and all families do, that they need to know, and they do understand as distressing or traumatic that this activity may be, they do want answers, so they are fully supportive of what we're doing.
They just hope that this latest police search might at least provide them with some kind of closure. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Great Yarmouth.
Wildlife experts say 2 otters have been found drowned in crayfish traps in a river in Essex. The 2 animals, believed to be a mother and her cub, were found in the traps in the River Wid near Margaretting by a walker. It's thought they could have been in the water for a couple of weeks. Although it's not illegal to buy the traps, you do need a licence from the Environment Agency to take them in rivers.
A lot of people have seen celebrity chefs on television saying, you know, you can go out and catch your own crayfish and then cook them up for supper. And so people innocently buy these traps and think, well, that's OK then, I can go down to the river and catch some crayfish. But you simply can't do this. It's not right to put these traps and possibly harm animals in the river.
Very sad end. Now, a nurse from Norwich is among an international team of medical staff and teachers working on a hospital ship that's berthed in West Africa.
It's part of the Mercy Ships charity, which offers vital operations to millions of people in the world's poorest nations. Africa Mercy is currently harboured at the former French colony of Benin. Laura Burns reports.
For little Taofiq's mother, this ship is a place of miracles. Her baby has been blind since birth, but when he leaves the Africa Mercy, he'll be able to see. Yet all it took to change his life was a simple cataract operation. The ship has been stationed here in Benin since January. In a country where healthcare is almost non-existent, the volunteers and their skills have been welcomed with open arms. Every day, queues of people come through the doors. Sarah Fawcett is a volunteer nurse who used to work in the A&E department at the Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital.
I have always longed to come and work in Africa with people who have nothing, and I found out about Mercy Ships and it just seemed something that I really wanted to do.
Reconstructive and tumour surgeries are very common. Thanks to surgeons, Anusette has gone from this to this in a couple of hours, and for just a few pounds. She's been lucky. Without such treatment, many babies born with a cleft lip are abandoned or sent to witch doctors.
My lasting impression is just of the joy on the patient's face when their lives have been transformed by an operation that they wouldn't have had if the ship hadn't have been here, because they simply can't afford it.
For volunteers, it's been a busy, costly and eye-opening year. But when they leave the ship, they'll do so knowing they've brought much-needed health and, of course, hope to millions of lives. Laura Burns, Anglia News.
What an amazing idea, an incredible